Hi everyone, welcome back to One Small Step. My name is Shar, and today we have a wonderful guest, Ahnika. Ahnika is currently in her fourth year at SFU and pursuing a double major in English and communications. And during her time at SFU, Ahnika has completed two communication co-ops and is intending to study abroad in the coming years before grad. And outside of school and work, Annika loves to hike, camp, and spend time with her dog. She also owns a personal blog where she writes about realistic lifestyle that discusses approachable DIYs and recipes. Thank you so much for being here, Annika. How are you?
Hi, Shar. Thanks for having me and the wonderful intro. I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, no, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. And we'll kind of just get into it because I'm just really excited. As I mentioned in your bio, you have your own personal blog, which I've had the chance to view, and it's awesome. You guys should check it out. I'll link it in the bio, but it's amazing. You just give so many baking recipes, lifestyle tips, and all these like awesome DIY projects, which is just super cool. And so maybe we can start off and you can tell us a little bit more about your blog and kind of what compelled you to create it.
Yeah, of course. So my blog is called Everything Annika. Little self-centered, but it started as a bake and DIY blog. I have always been really into baking ever since I was little. I actually got our first dog, a Bernese Mountain Dog, by selling cookies to my neighbors for a year and raising money for her. So I've always kind of been compelled to bake and do certain projects.
Yeah.
I started it though in 2020 during the first shutdown in BC because of COVID. And I suddenly had all this free time. I was in a fortunate position where I had all this free time to kind of think about what I wanted to do. And I was, for lack of a better word, bored.
Yeah.
And I decided to just make a blog and share everything that I've already been doing to my friends, family, and then now strangers across the world. So yeah, it's just been a thing about following my interests and I guess publicizing them.
No, I love that. I think during quarantine, we all had a lot of free time. And so you and I think other people were really, felt compelled to start their own projects. And I really admire that. My next question is, how has your blog experience, starting your own personal blog, getting into that, how has that contributed to your co-op term or looking for jobs and looking for opportunities?
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because when I first got hired for my first co-op term,
Yeah.
I was speaking to my supervisor and she mentioned that one of the reasons why they called me in for an interview and why I got hired was because they could see um, my blog. I hyperlinked my blog on my resume and I wasn't thinking to at first, but the reasoning behind doing it makes so much sense now. She said it was just a really nice, almost portfolio to see what I'm capable of. It also, I personally think it gives a little bit more of a glimpse or insight into someone's personal life. It gives people an idea of who I am as a person, and it totally personalizes my resume a lot more.
Yeah, again, I agree. I feel like even your own personal projects, you can add that to your resume. You can add that to your portfolio. It doesn't have to like be, actual work experience. It can literally just be things that you're doing on the side. And we kind of already touched on the portfolio aspect. And me knowing what you do, I know you have a great portfolio. And so, maybe what are some tips that you could give to students working on the portfolio, or maybe some ideas on what makes a good portfolio?
One thing that I would suggest is keep it diverse, and just showcase like things that maybe you haven't even thought of showcasing. I decided to make YouTube videos a couple months ago, and I actually put a YouTube video that I edited in one of my work samples. And I think if you're like me and you're in a position where you're applying for a job that doesn't necessarily require you to have a set portfolio or anything, it's
Yeah.
super helpful to just show your personal projects, make
Yeah.
it diverse, advertise what you can do, what you can bring to the table.
Yeah.
And again, just like my blog, for instance, and even like a writing sample, it's also a peek into your personal life almost, and to get an idea about you and how you present yourself.
Yes, I agree. I think portfolios kind of give you an insight to who you are. And so, really putting stuff there that represents you, not necessarily, I mean, it can represent your work, but also represent like who you are as a person, I think is essential. So, that's great. And those are great tips. To kind of wrap things up, as you know, this series is called One Small Step. So, what one small step did you take to get to where you are now, as well as just a small step that you encourage others to take?
Well, my one small step, I bought a website domain without having any knowledge of web design at all. It was something that kind of pushed me into pursuing this whole path of blogging
Yeah,
and content creating. I would suggest if you're first year, second year, maybe you're not even in university yet and you don't know what you want to do, or you don't know
yeah,
what kind of careers you want to go into, or co-ops or whatever, just think about what you're interested in. Think about in your life the patterns and um, things that you've been attracted to. Find one thing that you're able to do to act on your interests.
yeah,
So in my case, it was starting a blog, but maybe someone else would want to start a club or a social gathering, or maybe look for volunteer opportunities that
yeah.
go along with what they're interested in, because it doesn't even necessarily have to be something you're studying. I
Hmm.
think just finding your interests and applying them um, to anything. It's a really good step in the right direction.
Yeah, I love that. Pursue your interests. I love that. And that kind of wraps things up. Thank you so much again for being here and for taking time out of your day. And for those watching, thank you. And I wish you all the best and see you guys at the next episode.
Thanks, everyone.